Back on Gerty mood, back again, the Saturday mood. Well, here I am, it's Saturday afternoon. It seems to have been Saturday afternoon for the past 4.5 hours. So we're doing quite well. It's been nice and sunny where I am in Sussex, but I am told that apparently it doesn't bode well, you know, because as soon as we have 1 day of sun, wherever you are in Britain, we all know it, don't we? 1 day of sun and you're going to have a fortnight of rain. With that in mind, I went and washed my windows and washed the car and did all those sort of things whilst the sun shone. But it's always, you know, it's like a harbinger of doom the minute I show my face outside my front door. So it's mainly to avoid the house full of children that I seem to have inherited for the afternoon. But anyway, I'm here with you guys now. I was going to do some parodies. I will try and film some tomorrow because if it's pouring with rain, I've got no excuse, have I, you see? You see, I can't swerve it anymore. So here we go. Mr. Bump has sacked the diversity, equity and inclusion placement of a female commandant, as it says here. Commandant or commandant. I don't know how that's pronounced. Commandant does sound kind of like you wouldn't expect a Democrat to have such a job as commandant, no, would you? So, because obviously she was a Democrat placement, wasn't she? Yes, inclusion, employee. They hired her, in other words. So it must be commandant of the Coast Guard, citing border failures and focus on diversity, equity and inclusion. So it all went tits up because basically what they did is they just employed some bird. Did you get me? If they don't usually employ a woman that is actually like a woman assigned at birth, they usually might then actually employ somebody that was a woman not assigned at birth. Do you get me? I'm being very circumspect with my words, but this is a thing over there. I do believe that they have got somebody that's in charge of women's affairs who is actually a woman later than birth assigned. Capiche? Which is kind of odd. But there you go, say no more, because women nowadays literally don't count unless you're not a woman, and then it counts ever so much. So he's removed this bin. Let's go and hear what's going on.
Played a role at all in this. CNN's Natasha Bertrand joins us now for more.
Yes.
I mean, this is a pretty significant move, Natasha.
No, it's not that significant.
It is, Pamela, if not just because it really shows that this could be a sign of things to come in terms of how President Trump and his administration deal with military leaders that they feel are perhaps focusing too much on diversity and inclusion initiatives.
What she's trying to say is military leaders that are Marxists. There you go, I've said it. There you go, I've said it for you. There you go, you made me say it. I didn't want to say it, but I said it. So, yeah, there's that to it. And there's too much of that. And while they're at it, I would, and I know everyone's going to hate me for this, but I've got to say it, because I was born and brought up a Catholic. And, yes, the Catholic Church is like every denomination. They've got a lot of problems. You cannot get a set of men together and there's not going to be a few problems. And then chuck in a load of nuns and you've got yourself a shitstorm, haven't you? You have, let's be honest, you have. And it's always been the same, and it's the same across so many institutions, not only theological ones. A lot of institutions are like it, especially when it's closed shop. Do you get me? And they can hide behind a deity. All things are going to happen. All things are going to happen. But I don't believe that a woman should be a priest or a vicar, and let alone a bishop. I nearly passed out and had a fit of the vapours when I learned that America has bishops that are female. Apparently we've got some. When did that work? It doesn't say anything about that in the Bible. Yes, it doesn't, you see. Diversity, equity and inclusion. And, I mean, they let women do all sorts of things now that really we shouldn't be doing because we've got our assigned roles. We don't need to keep taking men's assigned roles. And then when we do, we can hardly complain when men started popping on dresses and taking our assigned roles as well. It's sort of par for the course. And I've always been confused, you see, because like I've said so many times, I'm bored of saying it, I usually used to make a joke when I did my stand-up skits that I can wear trousers. If I walk in a shop and somebody says, "What can I get you, sir?" I chin them. But if a man, conversely, is wearing something along the lines of a dress or a robe or a frock of any description, it's almost compulsory that I address that person as madam. Now, this is what I don't understand, because a man can wear a frock. I don't care what they wear. I don't care what anybody wears. And can you imagine, was it Emily Bloomer? Was it Bloomer? I'm sure it was Emily Bloomer. Yeah, who invented wearing, but basically she went out wearing her pants. Because they wore bloomers anyway. And I think it was when they invented the penny farthings and cycling as a thing. And they actually believed that cycling was going to cause sterility in women. It could cause you to be barren, you know, riding a bike. So, yeah, she just pushed the boat out, she didn't care. She went out wearing, essentially, bloomers. And then they invented sort of culottes. So it looked like a skirt, but it wasn't. It was like culottes. So, and all this sort of thing, so women could wear something that wasn't a frock, so they could move easier. There was a big hoo-ha about it. There's a massive hoo-ha about all these women that thought they were men wearing bloomers, and who did they think they are, going out in public. They were no better than they should be, and you best not talk to people like that. Oh, they're proper, you know. That was the fuss in the society at the time. I know, I wasn't there, but I do know this. So, conversely, we've got this nowadays, haven't we, with men wanting to wear frocks. If they want to wear a frock, they wear a frock. I mean, in my day, Boy George was a thing. You know, it all happened. It wasn't just invented by Gen Z or Gen X or whatever they call themselves nowadays. Men have, you know, it's always been happening. Nobody cares. Literally nobody cares. Most well-adjusted people don't really care what you wear. Prefer you to be covered if, you know, mankini in Tesco's doesn't really cut the mustard. Covered up, prefer a frock. If you want to wear a frock, wear a frock. As long as everything's, you know, tucked away. That's my point of view. Is we're decent in public because we don't want to scare the horses, do we, darlings? And if we encourage men to go around with everything, you know, dangling, it's going to be a terrible furore, isn't it? So, but we've actually gone over the top with this, haven't we? Where you could go in, most women nowadays, myself included, make sure we have our comfort breaks, not when you're out. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say, because it's just a nightmare. And I've seen like young girls going into ladies' areas, and you just pity them, really, because you never know, darlings, what you might find. Oh dear, you can walk in and see a lady with her feet in the sink, and yeah, that type of thing going on. And obviously the person was assigned lady after birth. At some stage after being born, they became ladies, you see. And that's the thing, and we just have to roll over and take it. We just have to put up with it. You can't say anything. And if you do, you're kind of like an ism or an is. When you're not, you just feel a bit uncomfortable around somebody like that. Because a lot of it is autogynephilia, rather than an actual desire to transition or to be seen as that person. I would venture again to say that if you take all that away, it goes back to Emily Bloomer, who was still very much a female but just wanted to wear trousers. That's why they were called bloomers, you see, originally, the original ones. But they already wore pants, the long pants, didn't they? I think they had a split gusset, darlings, you know, in the Victorian times, especially with the Farthingdales. Do you get me? Because how did that work out when you wanted to have a comfort break? Yeah, that must have been awkward. Must have been very awkward. So along come Emily, and she thought, put your bloomers on, tuck your petticoats into your knickers, and just ride a bike. As long as you're covered up, yeah. And it was absolutely groundbreaking. So it's the same with, but they didn't go in men's areas. They just carried on being women, but just wearing like legging, trouser, covered up legs type of attire. That's the word I'm looking for, attire. And it still didn't detract from the fact that they were in fact females. Like when I wear trousers, I'm still very much a female. Most women I know that wear trousers are very much females, even though trousers are, historically, a man's attire. We're still very much females. So why is this a thing? Because I'm still confused. Men can wear a frock, get themselves in the men's toilet, do comfort breaks, whatever you want to do, in your men's toilet, leave our safe spaces for ladies. Because it's not so much our old people like me, it's more you youngsters, it's more the young girls that are on the precipice of being adults, and younger than that a lot of girls just, you know, don't want to go into a comfort area or a ladies area and find people that are really dragged up. That is the best and most polite way of putting it. So yeah, this, I'm not sure what's going on. Sack her, sack all the female bishops, get rid of them. No, I would never ever ever on a month of Tuesdays ever sit in a church where a female was presiding. Yep, I just wouldn't. Don't ask me why, I just wouldn't. It's not my... No, sorry, can't be doing it. Unless it was Dawn French. No, actually, even if it was her, I wouldn't.
Which is one of the stated reasons, according to this DHS official, why Admiral Fagan was relieved of her duties as Commandant of the Coast Guard. Now, we did ask the Department of Homeland Security for reasons why she was relieved, and they did send us a list that included things like failure to address border security threats, prioritization of those DEI initiatives, which Secretary of Defense, future Secretary of Defense, if he is confirmed, Pete...
Well, she was a DEI placement, so obviously she was placed there for a reason. Because women think with their hearts where men think with their brains, don't they? And this is where we've got ourselves... And of course, that doesn't mean that women can't think with their brains or men can't think with their hearts. I'm just saying, you know, the generalisation is... And of course, the whole lefty belief system is very... You don't think with your head, you think with your heart. And a lot of those people that have just been booted out, the Democrats, they all thought with their brains. They wanted everybody else to think with their hearts, but they very much thought with their brains because they all enriched themselves something crazy in their time, like Nancy Pelosi, all those people, Maxine Waters, all those people, Pamela Harris, whatever, the Bidens. I think we've been over that. I mean, just for good measure, he pardoned everybody he'd ever met before he left office the other day, just in case they'd done something. So that lets you know what they've been up to, really. They go in quite average income or average wealth and come out completely... enriched. You've definitely got the Bush Foundation, you've got the Clinton Foundation, you've got the Obama Foundation. I'm sure you can have a Biden Foundation as soon as you can say Jack Bleeding Robinson. So, yeah, this is the way they roll. And this one here was obviously employed because she was malleable to their belief system.
Has said is going to be one of his priorities in removing from the department once he does get installed here, as well as Operation Fouled Anchor, which is that investigation into sexual assault and sexual abuses committed at the Coast Guard Academy that was covered up by the Coast Guard beginning in around 2018. Now, Admiral Fagan, she was not directly involved in that. However, she did signal to members of Congress last year when she was grilled on the sexual assault investigation that was not disclosed to Congress that she was aware of certain aspects of it, and according to the Department of Homeland Security, that is one reason why they felt like she needed to be terminated as part of her
so basically she was don't let the door hit you on the bum on the way through. That's the end of her, and she shouldn't have covered up anything like that. It's par for the course. Yeah, it's sort of, you do, whenever you get Marxists, they always cover everything up to do with sexual sort of, you know that word, proclivities and varying things. Mind you, I think so to the other side as well. If you think of Daddy Bush, Granddaddy Bush, you know, the original Bush, Boys Town and all that, her hoo-ha. Yes, so we all know about that, the trouble they used to get themselves into. I think it's, like I said before, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, and it does seem to draw people with nefarious intentions, so they can hide behind a fence of respectability whilst actually behaving reprehensibly. And it's been the time since time immemorial. You've only got Google in Britain. You've got the lowliest councillors of the smallest sort of parishes, up to mayors and top chief of police, top council officials, councillors, MPs. They're all, you know, there's so many of them that have got, I can't say the word, but charges against them of a nefarious nature. The sort of people you wouldn't want to have round for lunch, let's put it that way. It does seem to draw these people so that they can hide by... You've only got to look at the grooming gangs and everything, so I don't know where we've got from DEI to grooming gangs, but there you go, in one fell swoop. So anyway, I better go because my grandson's friends' parents are going to start turning up to, relieve me of the marauding hordes that have, my OCD has gone off the scale today, darlings, it really has. Anyway, I love you and leave you. Wherever you are in the world, have a great afternoon, evening, good night. I'm going to do this, and keep safe, keep smiling, and you know I love you all, each individually. Bye-bye.